Hello, welcome back to the BCS podcast. I didn't even give a number to this one. I said Rivalry Week. I think it's easier and pretty self-explanatory. How was everyone's weekend?
Great. Let's just say I got a little over drunk during the weekend. Somehow I ended up at two separate pizza joints, getting two pizzas on the same night. No clue how that happened, but it was an interesting weekend. But yeah, good games all throughout, and Cozzi's going to go on his tangent about how they dominated.
So, yeah. It was a very enjoyable, loud weekend. Did not have much of a voice left on Sunday. Still kind of dealing with it. Not a lot of screaming this week to save it up for Saturday.
You're done with work.
Yeah. How's Blake doing?
Doing great, actually. Yeah. Having a good time.
What was the last time all three of our teams won in the same weekend?
Said it was going to be a stress-free weekend. I couldn't care less about what happened on the weekend. Listen, man, I had to do my best knowing that this guy was going to flip for about 3 to 4 weeks and not having to spoil it. It was very hard, but we did it. It's very nice. A lot of wars have been won. We almost got certain people off the beat that need to be gone. As of earlier today, we had Portnoy gave the entire spiel on how it happened, so it's pretty interesting. And Michigan is going to have roughly $40 to $50 million per portal cycle each year. So, very excited. Ohio State has never beaten Michigan, in which there is a talent discrepancy in favor of Michigan. That is a verifiable stat. So, hopefully they can finish up and win.
You know what? That's actually not true. So,
in the history of recruiting rankings, if you go by talent index on 24/7 Sports, if Ohio State is equal or above Michigan, they have won every single time.
2001? I'm sorry.
There wasn't any recruiting rankings for that.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
So but the last 20 years, if that's a good enough database for you.
That's fine. And it's okay. I mean, we just kicked your ass forever in the recruiting. We'll still continue to do it. I'm not really worried.
Okay. So let's recap, and then we can get into the whole fighting business in a little bit. So first off, we had a Friday game. My game.
You?
Yeah. Dude, my family texted me, and they thought Sunday was Monday because of the way everything was thrown off because of the game being on Friday. It's really weird. First half looked really good offensively. Aiden Childs looked very comfortable this game. Run the ball. I mean, if we run the ball for an efficient amount, like we did this game, we played pretty good. I mean, we ran it for about 100 yards. First half came out pretty hot after we gave up a field goal. They kind of just the feeling out process. Childs to Foster, and then Kim had a longer field goal, and then 2 more touchdowns from Nate Carter. The next 2 drives, I mean, the first half looked phenomenal. Purdue looked like they were done. They looked like their season was over. They were giving up. But then in the second half, I mean, the offense just went stagnant. I don't know if they were just trying to hold stuff back because they didn't want more injuries because we got one major injury in the first half. But I don't know. It was just really weird. It was like we were playing conservative, but we didn't even have that big of a lead. And then Purdue scores the next 2 touchdowns. I mean, Purdue's coach probably just played himself back into his job, which is crazy to say. But this was like the game where they were like, if it's so bad, they're going to fire him. But they played his way back into having a job probably. And it was only a 7-point game at the end. I mean, realistically, you look at the first half compared to the second half. First half, it was beautiful outside. It was 55 degrees and perfect weather for football. And then we move into the second half, and it starts peeing rain every which direction. It went from 50 degrees to 25 and just wrenching rain. And I'm like, okay, this is going to be interesting. And yeah, I mean, we just kind of played slow and dud in the second half. But I mean, a win is a win. We move on, and we're 1 game away from being bowl eligible for the first time in 3 years, which is, to say that, I mean, our over-under for the season was 4.5. We just hit that. Now we can get 1 more win, maybe 2 more wins potentially. I mean, that's a huge step forward. So, especially with how we transitioned from last year this year. So,
would love to say this though.
I do not want to play Detroit though if we do make a bowl.
Oh my God, Purdue dropping like.
Oh, that was a wide open touchdown.
No, and there was a lot of other drops that happened.
It was
and,
so many.
Like I said, it
So
went
many.
from like we made so many mistakes too because it just went from dry, like a perfect game, to literally like rain in every which direction. And I was like, okay, this is terrible. It was terrible weather.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a difference between like just normal rain and then when it gets to like 20 degrees in rain because it is so cold. Like, thankfully, I kind of looked at the forecast. I don't think there should be rain for Michigan and Ohio State this week, but like.
No, but it's going to be cold.
It's going to be cold, and that's the fun part. I mean, we're at that point where
it's going to be – I don't know if it's going to be the fun part cold-wise.
Yeah.
Polar vortex is coming, apparently.
Yeah, I did hear some snow rumbles, but I think those have kind of gone away for the whole Midwest. So
it's going to be too cold to snow, probably.
So we'll just move on real quick. First, we'll kind of start off going through the other games, and then Blake can go, then Cozzi can go last because that was the top 5 matchup. First off, Illinois, Rutgers. Great game, by the way. Rutgers kind of had Illinois on the ropes, and then Illinois.
Not kind of. I don't know if did you watch this game?
I watched.
Not at all.
The second half.
See, did you watch the end?
Yes. They
So
literally came down to the last play of the game.
Correct. They had a 58-yard field goal in a crosswind that the guy missed by 20, 30 yards.
Yeah.
But they call a timeout beforehand. Bielema goes, oh, shit. They put the offense on the field, and it was a 4th and 18 or something, and they had a 40-yard touchdown.
Yeah, they had this
It was unbelievable. I mean, Schiano coached his way, took victory from the jaws of defeat.
Yeah.
I mean, it was the other way around, defeat from the jaws of victory. And it was like, dude, what the hell are you doing?
Yeah. So, I mean, that was nuts.
Let the kid kick it in 50 yards. It was like 58 yards. It was a crosswind. It was everyone, even the announcers, like, what the hell are they doing here?
Yeah. And then Iowa played Maryland 29-13. Another Iowa over. They're 9-1 now on the season, I'm pretty sure, in overs, which is crazy because we were all complaining that their punter didn't get nominated for the award today. But it's like they don't punt enough. They score 40 points combined in every game now, which is nuts. And we'll talk more about their game this week because I think that's a very interesting game.
Doak Walker Award finalist.
Yeah.
Caleb Johnson.
Yeah. What a beast.
Over Sampson's certainly something, but hey. A lot of the awards. I haven't seen this many controversial awards the entire time. But.
Yeah. Ty Felton's still a great receiver for Maryland. It's just they can't figure anything out. Their fall off is bad. They're gonna have to make some changes at the top, I think. Next game we'll get into Nebraska, Wisconsin.
Okay, can we talk about this for a second? Great call, Blake. Awesome call. Agreed.
This didn't end up being my lock of the week. This is my almost lock of the week.
First off, Nebraska's media team, whatever they want to call them, their in-game atmosphere team, putting the Nebraska Cornhuskers' eyes only up on the scoreboard every time Wisconsin kicked the field goal, hilarious. But maybe, possibly, the worst storming of the field I've ever seen.
Oh, it's terrible.
It took them forever to get on the field.
Yeah.
And also, I get you're bowl eligible. I get we're going to storm the field this week against Michigan. I mean, but is it a senior day tradition? I don't know. That's what it is at Ohio State.
Made a bowl
game in like 6 years.
8 years. No.
8 years.
Yeah, it's nuts. I mean, the choke finally paid off. I still think they need to question the coaching still.
I mean, Dana Holgerson comes in and they've scored points again.
Yeah. But I think that there's still an issue at the top. Wisconsin also fired their OC this week. Kind of some big news, which is kind of a big deal because their whole offensive scheme should now adjust, hopefully, if they want to make some true differences and play back into what they should be. But we'll see. And then we'll touch on the late night game, and then we'll touch on the catastrophe mess of a game in Minnesota. First off, USC, UCLA. I actually stayed up and watched most of this game.
I watched the first half.
I watched the whole game.
I actually stayed up and watched the whole game too.
It was good in the first half. I think it was like 9-3 or 9-6 or something in the first half.
Yes, it was 9-3, and Lincoln Riley had all field goals with the leading numbers starting with a 1 of yardage.
Yeah.
It was like a 19, 16, and 18 or something. And it's
Yeah.
like offensive genius, man. Nice.
Yeah, they couldn't score a touchdown, but it was nice because we had a bet out for the UCLA spread, and they kept just kicking field goals, and I'm like, this is perfect.
When it was 13-9, I was like, oh man, UCLA, they got this thing. And then they just kind of didn't do anything with the ball the rest of the time. And the worst part is, okay, look, I get you're at your own 34-yard line, and I get that your defense is playing well and you're down by 3, but why not punt the ball away? Why not? I thought they blew the game. That's just my opinion.
In the last game,
when the leader in every stat is one team and you lose, it's tough season.
Yeah.
And then the last game we'll touch on before you guys go. Minnesota almost pulls off a wonderful, miraculous upset of Penn State, but Penn State pulls it off right at the end. Both teams, defensively, this game was pretty good. I thought it was kind of good that, Minnesota just kept responding every single time that, Penn State would score throughout the game. They actually took a 10-0 lead and then kind of settled down, and Penn State started figuring it out. And then it went kind of stale for a little bit. But, they kind of just settled for field goals way too many times, I think.
Okay, I'm just going to say this. Once again, this is the opposite of what the UCLA game happened. PJ Fleck, go for it on 4th and goal.
Yeah.
You have nothing to lose. Nothing to lose.
Yeah, you're already bowl eligible. You might as well just do it.
Yeah, you could pull off a huge upset against the most realistic top 5 team in the country, Penn State. I know Blake absolutely loves the fact that they are ranked in the top 5 in the country. I just don't get why he didn't go for it. You're down by that goal line, and the other thing is you basically kind of made this harder for yourself because of turning the ball over, but also you didn't have many shots at getting down by the goal line.
Yeah.
I'm just saying,
there wasn't many drives. There wasn't as many drives as you would hope for in a game.
No. And here's the thing. The block punt gave Minnesota life, and basically they got that one play drive for a touchdown. They weren't getting down by the goal line that often. So that's the thing that was I don't understand not going for it on that 4th and goal. That was my main thing.
Yeah. Also, just got to mention it because I think it's pretty self-explanatory, but Coy Perch or whatever his name is, he's unbelievable.
Oh, he is.
He is unbelievable on defense. And he's the real deal. And I think that he's going to be something in a couple more years. I think is he, a freshman right now?
Yes.
I believe. He's going to be he's going to be probably looking. People are probably going to start looking draft in 2 years for him.
Yeah, probably.
He's pretty ideal size. So the way he's playing this year, if he keeps it up, watch out for him going forward, especially first couple round picks. And that's a good thing for them for sure. And then go ahead, Blake. You can talk about your domination of Northwest. I don't even know how to explain it.
You finally played the way you should have. It took you long enough to figure it out. It's funny again, getting Underwood it's just a total shot in the arm to the program. Sharon was feeling the heat. I can now openly say he knew what was going on. He realized his back was against the wall, and getting him now just has the monkey off their back. He was just coaching free. You definitely could tell it was Sharon calling plays for a majority of the week, which is nice. He was very involved in game planning. You could tell all of this stuff just from visually seeing it. He got, I think, three senior running backs scored. Jordan Marshall, Mr. Ohio, was looking pretty good. You know, a lot of people played their last game at the big house, both seniors and not seniors. A lot of them.
Yeah.
A lot of them.
The senior list was insane. There was
what?
40 players on that senior list.
Yeah, I think we have like 20 something seniors and like 10 grad guys. It is what it is, and a significant amount of the guys on the list, and a few more juniors too. I mean, like Will and Colson, a few other guys. I mean, with the 4 or 5 guys you're potentially getting up in the first round getting drafted, obviously they're all gone as well. And then a lot of people want to leave with the portal because this kind of was like a hold the team together sort of thing. So I would not be surprised if we have like a basketball-like turnover, like a college basketball team turnover this year on the roster, where almost nobody on the team is here next year. But you know, hey, you have a good audition this week and the week before. A lot of people, you know, kind of took that and ran with it. So we'll see what ends up happening. Finally, I know Davis Warren said he was getting texted by Jared Goff last week and then went out and had a pretty good game. So yeah, it is what it is. You know, maybe Davis Warren throws a touchdown pass this week and he'll be the first one of the Big 10 quarterbacks basically to throw one against Ohio State, because guys like Drew Aller and Curtis Rourke have yet to do that in their career. So yeah, but you know, it is what it is.
Yeah. And then we can all touch on this. Cozzi can go first, and we can just touch on the thoughts of what happened on
another slow start. Not really shocked by this anymore. Seems to happen like every single week right now. It was a little concerning for a while there. Obviously, you get stopped on downs, basically drive all the way down the field, started the second quarter, and you get stopped on a 4th and 1 at the Indiana 2. Disappointing you didn't score there. But defense held up. They made adjustments after giving up that first drive touchdown. Look, it was a dogfight. Indiana made their mistakes. They had a fumble. Then Will Howard threw a really bad interception. The thing that really swayed this game, though, was the muff punt. That really started the wheels kind of falling off Indiana. And that was kind of the beginning of the end. You had that, then it was the end of the half. Then we forced the 3 and out, and boom, just Caleb Downs to the house. And it was just, then it got really loud. I mean, it was actually probably one of the better crowds we've had this year, considering every single game we play at noon. Overall, outstanding performance, and we got our fucking swagger back. And the one thing I noticed is that I haven't noticed under Ryan Day's team that I've noticed this year is the sidelines are hyped. The sidelines into it. You gave us fucking new blood. The swagger is fucking back, baby, and I fucking love it. And you had players standing on benches, getting the crowd hyped. Like, you had Mbuka doing dances, and you know, everyone just thought, man, like, Will Howard is just this average quarterback. He's just like Kyle McCord. No, Will Howard's a fucking winner. He's a fucking leader, and that's what we fucking needed the last 3 to 4, 5 years even. He has that killer instinct, and I fucking love that we punched another touchdown in. So maybe Indiana should just Google that one, because we put the fucking SIG out.
Yeah. I mean, I'll just touch on it real quick. I think the only concern going forward with this Ohio State team is that they're starting off so slow. I mean, the first score doesn't come until midway through the second quarter. I mean, when you're playing teams in the playoff, if they play like that, it's going to be rough.
And if a team has a punter that knows how to handle a punt,
yeah,
then yeah,
it wasn't even bad weather.
No,
no,
guy's an idiot.
It was misting rain most of the game. I would say for 2/3, not quite 3/4, but 2/3 of the game, it was a misting of a rain. No, it was.
Yeah, but catch the ball.
No, he should have caught the ball. Yeah, I mean, he should have caught the ball.
There's a difference between it going sideways, high,
yeah,
in his chest.
I just don't understand the way. This is how you know Sig's a bad coach and he got a Mel Tucker contract. Is when you do your first scripted drive like that and it's clearly working and you just completely abandon it and you just have this stubborn idea of instead of picking on these two corners that objectively suck, I'm just going to run the ball down their throat against the only position on the field they have that's that elite, is I'm just going to run it right into Tyreek Williams. Very bold strategy. I mean, you have bad skill position players, and Iggy and Burke had nothing more on their mind than I'm just going to massacre and hold these guys and get away with murder.
Pretty much, yeah.
They didn't. They got all these flags, but it's like, dude, it is what it is. And then, you got Indiana, you get let off a mat. Okay. They miss they give you a bullshit block in the back call for no reason on a free play that would have been a touchdown. It's 3rd and 35, and you just let them walk down your field. You're an unserious team. It's why you shouldn't be in the playoff. It's why I hope you're not in the playoff. I'm a Big Ten fan. I hope you're not in the playoff. You're lucky that every other SEC team shot down their leg this weekend.
I also want to add this, and I was really disappointed by this. So you're down 31-7, and you're running the ball to keep.
They ran the ball 7 times.
It seemed like they wanted to keep this score at 24 points.
Mm-hmm. That is exactly what they were doing.
Because they literally just, I'm like, what are they just trying to like stay in this game?
Which is why I'm not mad for Ohio State running the score up, even though they faked the knee, which is some diabolical stuff.
It's fine.
I mean, you look at Indiana every single week so far.
Undaunted my ass. Big Cat, shut up your ass.
They've done the same thing. Indiana's done the exact same thing. They've done these fakes. They run it up. They run up the score because they know that they need the score.
They're fake tough guys, and then they played the first real team on their schedule and got promptly killed, like I said.
Hey, look what they did to Nebraska, and they literally just ran the score of 56-7 on them. Wasn't it like 42-7 with like 5 minutes left in this game? And they started throwing bombs deep on Nebraska. Like, look, the thing is, Cignetti, he kind of did this himself. I mean, he really, honestly, Michigan played them tight. Michigan played them a low-scoring game. I feel like he was out-coached in the Michigan game. It's just Michigan doesn't have the talent.
If you're getting out-coached by Wink Martindale, you need to look in the mirror.
Yeah.
Hey, that Wink Martindale guy seems like.
But this is just me and Zach talking here. Do you think Ohio State acting like they won their Super Bowl against Indiana is a little strange, Zach? Putting stuff on the board, if people ashing cigs on the side, like, dude, it's another game. Like, relax. Like, if you're doing that to me next week, I get it. Yeah. But it's Indiana.
I just want to interrupt real quick because I'm kind of distracted. Colorado just took the lead with 4 seconds left against UConn. So that's insane. Yeah, I mean, it is kind of weird that they did that. It's tough to say because there's the Ryan Day mentality where he just likes.
Please elaborate on that.
He has like this weird thought that like every game is like the biggest game in the world. But then like they get to the really big games and it's like he's just normal. And I'm just like, I don't know what's going on. What he said in the little clip that they put out the other day, I mean, this is like the year where he has to prove it. If this game, Michigan game, means so much to him, which we'll touch on so much, I mean, they should realistically score 50 points on Michigan.
Oh, easily. They should cover the over themselves.
Easily put 50 points on Michigan because of what happened the last 3 years. I mean, if he just like has this mentality where it's like this game is now the biggest game, and he keeps building that in his head. I mean, the Oregon game, you look at it, the clock management wasn't the best. That's why they lost. That's what happened. But, I mean, he's just got to – I mean, we'll see. But, I mean, if there's one team right now that – I mean, they haven't looked bad except for the first halves for the first quarter. I mean, Ohio State's just kind of been rolling still. So, I don't know. We're probably going in the playoff with 3 teams. I mean, unless some crazy thing happens. But we have a pretty good odds of 4 teams. 4 teams. Yeah, 4 teams. So we have pretty good odds to win the Natty in the conference.
We should have 4 teams. We should.
Yeah.
Now, that's only if Purdue doesn't pull off the major upset and get their only conference win of the season.
I want to look at the game is at after we're done. I'll move when we move on to this week. But the one thing
gotta be 30.
The one thing I wanted to touch on of the other games, let's just touch on some other ones. First, I want to start off with the horrific finish by Ole Miss. Jackson Dart, absolutely terrible finish.
I mean, look, this is the lane train experience. If you don't know this by now, then I know, Zach. I know you're new to the lane train, Zach. Everyone saw this coming.
You knew there's going to be a game somewhere down the road that Lane was going to blow.
They beat Georgia and then followed up by losing to this. Of course.
DJ
absolutely.
DJ Lagway, though, I mean, if there's a freshman quarterback, he looks pretty good. The hype is for real. The hype is for real right now.
Yeah, it's almost like it's really important to have an elite 5-star quarterback.
Yeah. I mean, people are transferring to Florida from Florida. The Florida State's entire class for next year has switched to Florida for DJ Lagway, basically, because they were like, wow, who's going to be the first coach fired? Well, it's not going to be him, Napier anymore, because I mean they're proving everybody wrong. They're playing.
I think the last 4 to 5 years now, the guy that's been the coach to get fired has ended up being almost a coach of the year candidate. I know that was like last year with the West Virginia guy, and then this year obviously with Billy Napier.
Yeah,
I mean I know he won't win it, but he should be in consideration for coach of the year. I mean, people thought you were going to go like 2-10, 3-9, and you might go bowling.
I mean, there's
still a chance going bowling. Excuse me.
Yeah. Sorry, I just spilled water everywhere.
Do we want to move on to the nightcap in the SEC because it was outstanding performances?
Yeah, we got to move on to the next game that we have to have question marks about. I know it's not that crazy, but Georgia allowing 21 points to UMass is unbelievable. And they're talking crap about the Big Ten teams at the top. They're giving up 21 points to UMass.
Yeah. I know I've been interacting with Big Cat a lot recently on Twitter. I had the top reply another one of his tweets where I said a losing to Ohio State is less bad for your resume than giving up 21 to a coachless UMass at home.
Coachless UMass. Correct that. Coachless UMass. Yes.
Exactly. Because that was the thing is I should have gone back last week and cut out the part where I said if Don Brown was still the coach, I'm taking what's it called? I'm taking UMass plus 49.5. I mean, that game, it was comfortable. Again, you can't cover a 49-point spread if you're barely scoring 49. But I mean, the whole SEC, like literally, the tweet was they saw Indiana lose, and the SEC media went yes, and then they sent the rest of the day being like, "We're just going to be as bad as humanly possible."
It was literally insane. Yeah, we'll touch on more on the SEC in a little bit because Cozzi
looked good with the balls.
Can't wait to talk about this game, but we're going to skip before we're going to touch on the rest of the games. Kansas upsets Colorado. Devin Neal is a beast. 4 touchdowns. Ran it everywhere.
He was on my bench for our fantasy Final Four.
Some kid tried to jump on the field, and I forget who it was. I think it was Devin Neal or Jalen Daniels. He goes, "Kid, this isn't at Kansas. This is the NFL stadium. You can't jump on the Chiefs field. You just can't jump on the field because they just tackled him right away. There was no field storming there. And then my game of the week, my lock of the week hit just barely. I'm pretty sure it was 50.5.
One of the craziest endings of a college football game of all time.
I don't know if Cozzi got to see this. So Arizona State, scores a touchdown. It's 28-23, 51 points. I had 50.5.
First of all, it was wasn't it 28-0 at half?
Something like that. Yeah, or 28-3 at half.
Yes.
BYU had an unbelievable second half. Arizona State scores another touchdown. Cam Scobo scores another touchdown. Or doesn't score. He scored, I think, 3 in this game.
Oh, yeah, no, it was 28-0 at the half, and then Arizona State didn't score the rest of the game.
Yeah. Second half, BYU keeps getting down, and then for some reason, Arizona State has their quarterback run backwards 10 yards, and then run backwards 10 yards again, and then run backwards 10 yards again. And for some reason, they gave BYU time on the clock, like 10 seconds. BYU gets down into a range of where they can throw a Hail Mary. They throw one, and everybody thinks the game's over, so they rush the field.
I don't know. You're totally missing it. It was fourth, so it was 4th and goal with 8 seconds left. Mind you, from the 45-yard line, 4th and goal from the 45-yard line. Sam Levitt takes 3 steps back and throws it as far as he can out of bounds.
Yes.
And the ball lands with 2 seconds left, but the clock operator lets it go 1-0. So everyone storms the field. In the middle of the field storming is the ref like this with this little box looking at the replay, and they
The
go,
coach is screaming at the coach is screaming at him.
Birmingham is going banana land.
His wife standing right next to him, just screaming at him. First off,
That's what it is.
they try to take the field goal post down, and they had to put it back up.
Well, the posts come down always, so you don't rip them off.
Yeah.
But I know you don't storm fields. It's fine.
Yeah, we can't.
And what happens is everyone has to get off the field, right? So they spend the next 20 minutes, 30 minutes getting
They
around.
put everybody on the player's sidelines.
It goes live on Instagram from inside the BYU pop-up medical tent. Like that's where all the kids were. They had a kid sitting there like this. It was funny. Like they had people like it was like I forgot. Like it happened a few years ago with Villanova. They had a field storming or court storming in basketball with Temple, but they had to put everyone back on the sidelines. So there's literally the entire sidelines is like 10,000 worth of fans.
It reminds me of Utah BYU that one year.
Yes,
where BYU actually ended up winning the game.
Yes, so BYU just goes back out there from their own 45-yard line and completes the Hail Mary to the
1-yard line.
I don't think the kid was down.
He caught the ball.
And he's laying on top of someone. He's never down.
Yeah.
I was like, dude, he laterals it and jumps in. It's over. But then they restormed. So it was pretty funny.
Yeah. That game.
The Big 12 is officially # a mess.
Yeah.
Have you seen this? The Big 12 came out and announced that there are 9 teams that have a possibility to make their championship game. Yep. And there's 256 different possibilities of tiebreakers.
See, I remember I did that with college basketball with 2 games to go in the Big 10 last year. I had a full spreadsheet of every possible outcome. That was fun. This is football with 9 teams.
But this is insanity. 256 different tiebreakers could happen pending on who wins, who loses, etc.
The funny thing was Kansas was alive until I forgot who won, but Kansas was almost alive. They could have been in their playoff game.
Yeah, with like a losing record.
But it doesn't matter that the Big 12 is dead. Because Micheal's Army got absolutely shit pumped.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that real quick. Army did everything wrong, and Notre Dame.
That's not just my Army. That's your Army and the U.S. Army.
No, we both put Notre Dame.
The boys from the Army Academy. First off, they gave up a rushing touchdown. Then they got the ball back, and then they fumbled, and then they gave up another touchdown. And then they gave up another rushing touchdown. I don't think they stopped the run. I thought they could stop the run. I was wrong. They did not stop a single run. Notre Dame's running back, I'm pretty sure, had like 7 carries for like 150 yards. Like
you see that stat that one kid on Notre Dame has 3 blocked kicks this year?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Look, it was just a bad game all around, 49-14. I'm not going to lie. When it got to be 14-7, I was like, okay, maybe.
You were talking spicy.
They're right back in this thing. They're right back in this thing. And then, yeah.
We'll touch on the 2 games before, and then you can go to the Auburn game. First off, we'll start Oklahoma dominates Alabama.
I just want to say this. I picked 3 upsets in primetime. And like Meatloaf said, 2 out of 3 ain't bad. I got 2 of them.
Oklahoma dominates.
They had to have their signs, right?
They had to have. Because
that Venables thing is stealing signs.
I think he had 20 rushing yards. And if you watch every single rush, his linemen missed the assignment every single
Alabama, I have not seen, and I watched these 2 games at a bar, and I have not seen Alabama look that bad in
a long time.
Before Saban, maybe? Like
there was a tweet that came out this morning. A Feinbaum caller called in and said, going from what's his name? Going from Saban to DeBoer is like thinking you went to bed with Beyonce and waking up next to Whoopi Goldberg.
Yep. His name is Legend. On the
Feinbaum. If you think about it, DeBoer had a great situation, and he just walked away from it. And it would be Washington would be pretty good right now if he wouldn't have stayed, I think.
You don't say no to Bama.
I heard the guy on that Paul Feinbaum show legit say, I don't care about the Iron Bowl this week.
Dude,
Alabama fans are, I don't care. You're in the playoff hunt, and I don't care about the Iron Man.
I listen. Everyone knows I have an innate ability to always make this about me, but guess what? I'm making it about me. These SEC elitist teams talking about how they've been paying players for years. Everyone knows this, right? And now that Michigan and Oregon and some of these other schools have figured out how to buy players and the playing field is level, and now the SEC teams are having their worst years of all time, that's not a coincidence. There's no signs. We just have more money than you. There was a guy, a Michigan podcast guy, went on a SEC thing, and he goes, listen, you little SEC rich people, you guys are pretty cute. You own car dealerships and steak restaurants. He goes, up north, we're wealthy. Okay? Forbes list. Okay? And that's what someone said. Google Larry Ellison's net worth.
Cozzi, he only talks
net
about
worth.
Ohio State when he makes fun of your $20 million roster. Just
crazy.
$20 million roster.
He can't make fun of our $20 million roster.
$20 million is rookie numbers.
Oh yeah,
that's come on.
Fine.
Yeah, so when
has 20 results in the championship,
in 2 years, when Michigan's roster is $30 million, it's
30,
Natty Russ
2
years.
Our roster in a month is going to be 40.
And it's Natty or bust. Then it is.
Pretty sure that we'll be able to match
Michigan's Natty or bust with Bryce Underwood. No kidding. Last time I was Natty and bust, I sat here for 12 months and actually stood on business and did it.
True.
So a novel concept, I know. The rest of the Ohio State fan base.
By the way, I just want to say
the disclaimer always with me is the Ohio State fan base is not this guy. This guy is outside of that. The Ohio State fan base on Twitter hasn't even said Natty or bust. They've been scared the entire time. Half of them have deleted the app since they lost to freaking Oregon.
I do want to say this. Since we are talking about the SEC and things going downhill, a certain SEC school named Tennessee just had an offensive 5-star recruit get flipped to Ohio State.
Yeah.
Like right before we came on here. Taven St. Clair posted it. David Saunders Jr. Is flipping to Ohio State. So there's a 5-star. And we have another
5-star tackle is pretty cute.
And we have another 5-star that we may be flipping on the offensive line from South Carolina. So
he's a 4 right now. But I mean, once you flip him, it'll be a 5. I know how it works.
Whichever way.
Did you see? By the way, I don't know. Again, I know we're doing too much recruiting. Did anyone see what happened with Georgia? They flipped a kid from Georgia State, and he went from a 3-star to a high 4. He went up like 700 spots.
Yeah, I did see that.
Nasty work.
It went from 1,000 to like
nasty work.
We'll touch real quick. Iowa State wins 31-28 over Utah. Utah had a chance for a field goal to tie the game, and it went whoop that one.
I'm sick of Whittingham.
It was not close.
I'm sick of Whittingham.
He's probably gone. I think he's going to retire.
He's like this top 5, top 10 coach. I was like, oh, Whittingham. You played in the Pac-12. That sucked.
And then the last game of the night, Cozzi's favorite. 4 overtimes for Auburn. Auburn beats Texas A&M 40-41.
I'm going to tell you what. I have never seen a more of a at-home in a raucous environment collapse by a team ever. And then they win in 4 overtimes. Which can we just finally? No, hold on. Can we just admit this? Get rid of the goddamn bullshit overtime. Go for 2 points.
I like the eventually you have to go for 2.
I do. Yes, that's fine.
Kicking. That's good.
Yes,
just 2-point conversions is the dumbest stuff
in college football. Cutthroat one play like that. That is just that. You know what that's like? That's like saying in the NHL playoffs, we're no longer going to play overtime for the full 20 minutes. You get 10 minutes, and then we're going to a shootout. That's what it's like. Go back to the old rules. First 2 possessions, kick the extra points, etc. The next 2, after that, 3 on, go back to you get the ball at the 20, and then you have to go for 2 if you score a touchdown. Just go to that, please. That's what we want, because this stupid one play, it's cutthroat. It's awesome. That's great. But it's like, it is just stupid. It is really.
a heavy favorite if you should go for 2 if you score second in overtime or first.
Yeah.
So yeah, and now we'll move on to this week.
Oh, I have one last thing I want to talk about real quick. Sorry.
No, it's okay.
We need to talk about the playoff structure because I was dumb enough to be watching Boise State football. Okay.
They played.
They're not good.
Nope.
2, Juntney went out and they were the worst team I've ever seen. So,
and he's the only reason that they're in it.
They're going to get a bye because the American shit the bed and the Big 12 is disgusting.
Yep.
That team getting a bye is ridiculous to the point where I am very serious when I say Ohio State or Oregon should throw the Big Ten championship game because would be so much easier to play whatever BS Pac-12 team you put in there or Big 12 team and then Boise State in like the Sugar Bowl. You walk into the game. I understand it's 2 versus 1 game. You get a home game against a bad team. Like, think about it. This is the thing, right? Real quick. Would you rather play Colorado at home, Cozzi, and then Boise State in a neutral field? Or would you rather play, I think right now the projection is Tennessee or Notre Dame?
Yeah, I mean, basically, if you're getting
Blake, I'm going to say this to you, and just hold on here, and don't fly off the handle. The Big Ten loser will be the 6th seed.
If we're doing this, Notre Dame's the 5 seed, then we have an even bigger problem.
Yeah,
no. You're not getting Notre Dame as a 5 seed. We're getting your favorite team, who should not be a top 5 team in your opinion, as the 5 seed.
No. You don't punish a team for not playing in a championship game.
Okay, then I want to ask you this question.
Unless you're Ohio State in 20.
Then I want to ask you this question. Georgia's already in the SEC title game. They're already automatically in. If they were to lose to Texas, do they still go to the tournament?
No. So no.
Then you're punishing. Then you're punishing Georgia.
No. I misspoke. I thought the question was, would they be the 5 seed? No. If you're in the championship, it'd be done. We were talking about this. Actually, I was legitimately like having this. They should have the seeds before the game's set. And I know this is probably crazy, but it's like, hey, SEC, you're playing for 2 and 6. Michigan or Big Ten, you're playing for 1 and 5. That's the easiest way to do this.
Okay, I'm fine with that.
Seriously, who's the biggest winner right now in the SEC? I think it's the Tennessee Volunteers because they have 2 losses and they're basically locked in to being a 7 or 8 seed. They have a home playoff team pretty much locked. Well, and they have to play in the Big Ten championship game.
I don't know about that.
Yeah, let's slow down here. They got a trip to Nashville.
I watched that entire game against LSU, who is a bad team. Vanderbilt's not good at football. Okay, look who they've beaten. The wins that they beat the Alabama team. That's how they make the playoffs. That team stinks. And by the way, the fact that Alabama has a 20% chance to make the playoffs still.
So yeah,
someone did a blind resume. They changed Alabama's logo and Duke's logo.
Yes, and people were like, Duke should be in blind resume.
It wasn't even close. I think it was unanimous.
Yeah.
I think there's a strong chance, and this is like kind of off topic because it's not really podcast related, but it is. There is a strong chance that I will be betting for the 5 seed to win the national championship. Because if you look at it right now, okay, hypothetically, you're probably playing Arizona State.
Yes.
If they win.
Okay.
And then you're playing Boise. That is an automatic, like you said, that is an automatic national.
Here's where I want to back this up. Okay. Here's where I want to back this up and why I say they're going to have the 6th seed. They do not want the 1 and the 5 seed to play each other again in the semifinals.
Oregon loses to Ohio State.
They're the 5th seed.
Yeah, they're 5th seed. There's no shot.
Yeah, I agree with that, but I don't know that they are. And by the way, Indiana's going to make this tournament, and they're probably going to have to go play at Penn State. I could see them being like, okay, you guys didn't play each other in the Big Ten.
It's going to be Indiana at Georgia, and I'm going to have a lot of fun on that game. Because I think they're going to manipulate the rankings so it's not conference opponents.
Okay, well, hold on. Here's the thing, though. You're saying if Georgia, though, loses the SEC title game, they would host Indiana. I don't think that's going to be possible because Georgia's going to have 3 losses then.
I understand.
It probably will end up being
13 games.
But it'll probably end up being Tennessee who hosts Indiana.
So yeah, we're probably
semantics.
let's move on to this week.
Maybe Georgia hosts SMU or Miami instead. Whatever.
So yeah, looking at the Big Ten this week, we'll kind of discuss the important games, the games that mean something, and then we'll go, to the end where the games really are kind of just whatever. So first off, we'll start on Friday with Minnesota at Wisconsin. Wisconsin playing for a chance to make a bowl. 2-point favorites. I don't know.
Flip a coin here.
I think Minnesota spoils.
I mean, it right now. Let's put it this way.
Did Minnesota play last week?
Yes, they lost to Penn State 26-25.
Oh, I'm going to say Wisconsin. My apologies.
Wisconsin lost to Nebraska. That was your lock of the week.
My lock of the week was actually Minnesota. But yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it was.
I think Minnesota kills them. Am I crazy?
Yeah.
What am I missing here?
I don't think you're missing anything. I thought Minnesota would kill them, but here's the other thing. It's also going to be freezing cold.
Minnesota's got a better run game. Minnesota's what Wisconsin used to be.
To a certain extent, yes, I agree.
Give me Minnesota lock of the week. I'll do it again. Outright. I don't need 2 points. Shut up your ass. Outright.
Yeah, I'm taking Minnesota as well.
The other 20.
You know what? I'm actually going to take Wisconsin. They become bowl eligible. Give me Wisconsin.
I'll be rooting for Wisconsin. One of my good friends.
That's at noon on Black Friday. That's a good game. Keep an eye out for that. It's the 7 p.m. slate. Thankfully, it's not.
I will be watching the Colorado game instead of this Big Ten nonsense at noon. But yes.
Yeah. So Nebraska takes on Iowa, two teams that are locked into the Bulls.
As Zack said in another Big Ten chat, too many chats. Anniversary of the greatest game of all time.
Dude, so yeah, I mean, the one of seven that we have to talk about, the anniversary of the greatest game of all time, where the over-under was 29 or 31 and a half.
And they didn't even come close.
No comfortably under.
Blew under. It was a great game. Yeah, I mean, this is different, though, because we're getting a 39.5 point over-under in a game where Iowa could easily probably score 30 points. So
I think they're going to. I think they dominate this game, and I think this is the Kirk Ferentz farewell game.
Nebraska blew their load, dude. What do they have to fight for now?
Exactly. They made the bowl game. They made the bowl game. Iowa's going to destroy them. This is going to be probably like 45 to like 10. I think.
Also, I am kind of rooting for Wisconsin.
Yeah.
Even though I'd say Minnesota, because if Wisconsin gets in and we somehow win, I think Wisconsin's playing in Detroit and not us, and that's what I really want to see. So I want to go. I want to go somewhere other than Detroit. Which we'll move on. We're 1.5 point favorites. We play 3:30 Saturday. I don't know. I don't know what to expect. We've had great weeks. We've had bad weeks. We've had weeks where I'm just like, I want to pull my hair out. It's tough because you look at it from the perspective of Rutgers is already in a bowl. They've had some good weeks. They've had some bad weeks. Kyle's been banged up the entire season. Does he play a full game? Do they want to rest him for a potential bowl game, potentially where he's going to go after? It's tough to say. But yeah, I mean, you guys can go ahead and say whatever, but I think it's a good game where we can prove we're going to figure it out.
I think it's a good game. It really does suck to see on the weather forecast on ESPN, it's going to be 29 degrees, and right next to it is two teams that are playing in LA that's going to be 74 degrees.
He's looking at his ESPN that has his team at the top, and me and you were seeing the same thing, where it's Fresno.
Yes, UCLA I know. We're seeing Fresno, UCLA,
and look what's on top of it.
And I know it's USC and Notre Dame, and it's 74 on both of them, and I'm just like, oh man, it's so cold.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be even colder for you guys. You're going to kick off at noon. It's going to be freezing, man.
Yeah,
I don't know. What do you think, Cozzi, in this game?
I gotta go with. I think Sparty pulls through. They become bowl eligible. I think it's going to be a John Smith statement game. Rutgers going on the road. If you go look at every single game the rest of this season from Rutgers, I'm pretty positive that the only Rutgers win in conference on the road is at Maryland. And I'm not impressed by Maryland at all. They struggle on the road mightily every single place they go. You got to remember, the only reason Rutgers is even bowl eligible is because Washington didn't have a kicker for the game, or a kicker that could make a field goal.
Look, man. Everything says Rutgers. There's no way Michigan State should win this game. Rutgers is better in every stat metric you can see there. Shiano is built for these 6-6 mud games. Like, he lives for this stuff. But Michigan State's got a minus next to their number.
I just think.
Why would they do that? Give me the Sparties.
Vegas knows something. Trust me, Vegas.
That's the only reason why I'm picking this game.
Yep.
I know I'm doing the exact opposite of the Minnesota game. Shut up! I will not answer questions this time.
Yeah, that makes sense. Moving on, Illinois, Northwestern, 7.5 point favorites for Illinois. I mean, dude, you could give me 10 and I'd probably take it. Like,
you could pay me to go. You could pay me to care about this game, and I still wouldn't.
I don't care. I mean, for the fact of the matter is that tickets are $56 going for this game.
Stadium with like 50 people in it.
It's going to be at Wrigley, so this is another game at Wrigley, and I mean,
that's the small one.
It's not the small one.
I'm pretty sure they're playing. Yeah, they're playing at Wrigley.
Lanny and Sherian Martin Stadium.
No. Click on it. They're playing at Wrigley. Click on the tickets. They're playing at Wrigley.
Oh, it is? Well, there you go.
Yeah.
ESPN lies to me.
Yeah, ESPN is wrong. I know.
Disgusting network.
Next game.
ESPN is lying to me. Disgusting.
Next game. Maryland.
I don't care.
At Penn State. Maryland is plus 25 this week. I don't even know.
Look,
I don't even know if they can cover that.
Maryland sucks. Penn State's going to blow them out of the water. Penn State is going to blow them out of the water on purpose because they need it.
Correct. This is the fake Penn State blowout. You know this. As always,
yes.
They'll win 49-10. $5 tickets. That's interesting.
Yeah.
$5?
I might make fun of them for this.
Yeah, $5 tickets to Penn State game.
I might make fun of them.
Not just any Penn State game, a Big Ten Penn State game for them to clinch a playoff.
Not even at noon.
To clinch a playoff spot.
You could be under night. You could put your little white on and have it be a whiteout. Wow. Who cares? This is the annual they beat the shit out of Maryland game.
Yes, absolutely.
Thank goodness they almost lost last week because now they're going to get cute and they'll try. Oh, by the way.
Yep.
Okay, hold on a minute.
Tyler
Warren is not a top 3 player at his position, and they're talking about him being for the Heisman. Is that what we're doing this year with guys like Travis Hunter? It's like, hey, I'm not third best at any position, and I'm just going to have this. This guy, okay, Colson Loveland has similar numbers and missed multiple games, okay, including the second half last time. They give him these gimmick running plays against the Little Sisters of the Poor, known as Purdue and other schools like this. Harold Fannin in the MAC is an absolute freak show animal. That's basically Calvin Johnson, but it's the MAC, so whatever.
Why are you naming all 3 players that could be possible future Cleveland Browns? I mean, just keep naming tight ends.
Loveland, you're not taking Loveland because you're going to be picking too high.
Yeah.
Tyler Warren could definitely be there in the second or third round. The nonsense that he's going first round is hilarious. Colson Loveland's on a different level. And I'm talking about just college because in pros, it's not even they're not even the same page of prospects.
No.
But yeah, and again, Loveland, we'll get to it in a minute. He's one of the only Michigan players I like still. So.
I love your Penn State rant.
They're unbelievable. They're so bad. They're so fake. Look, man, I'm always right on these goddamn fake teams. I was a few weeks early with the Indiana stuff. It eventually came around. Come on, dude. At Penn State, they actually have a fan base. They actually have like real people that care about them. They don't have a basketball program. They just lost while we're recording this. So
did they really?
Yes, they choked. Look, so they understand what's going on, right? So all they have is football. Indiana's going to get sandblasted by some SEC team and give them some fake stuff and some basically borderline porn for what's his name, Feinbaum to go off on. Penn State at least will handle business and defend the conference and beat some fake SEC team that comes in there in a white-ish out game. But whatever. There's levels to this, okay? And I understand it's easy for me to say being 6-6, okay? But take it easy. Sorry.
Yeah.
Okay. Are we moving on to my lock of the week?
Yeah. Notre Dame takes on USC.
We are moving on to my lock of the week. Lock it in, baby. Upset of the week, 3:30.
Outright or spread?
My lock of the week is, you know what? Screw it. I'm going lock of the week. That's my upset of the week. USC takes down the Irish, and the Irish go bye-bye in the playoffs. Here's the thing. Lincoln Riley is actually probably feeling the hot seat. And this is a trip out there. Look, Army is Army, and Notre Dame is supposedly Notre Dame. But if you can seriously sit here and tell me that this 10-1 Notre Dame team should be ranked number 6 in the country with the schedule that they have played, you aren't serious. They have maybe legit maybe one good win. Because look, the military academies, they will not stack up against most teams. I think we know that. It was a magical run for Navy and Army this season. That's awesome. They got a terrible Florida State team, a terrible Virginia team, Georgia Tech, who, yes, upset Miami. Congratulations. But here's the thing. They got Georgia Tech without their starting quarterback. So that's also one thing that played into the factor. Then you got Stanford. Who cares? Miami of Ohio, Purdue. They played Texas A&M. Congrats. You beat Texas A&M. Congrats on your one win. I'm not impressed with your win against Louisville. I'm telling you right now, they're going out west, and they're going to lose this game. They're going to get upset. There you go. That's my piece.
Yeah. I mean, I don't really got much on that game. Next game, UCLA takes on Fresno State.
74 fucking degrees.
By the way, quickly, I agree with Cozzi.
Yeah.
Oh.
USC spread. It makes no sense.
I'm taking UCLA spread here.
And then
UCLA.
I so wish that they were playing for a bowl this week. It'd be way more fun if we had every Big Ten team make the bowl.
Exactly. And here's the thing. UCLA, I feel bad because they played their asses off last week against USC. They didn't fucking win. Look, they're playing tough and scrappy. I'll give them that.
Yeah.
They're a really smart team.
They're very sound.
Yes.
No, they're a smart institution. Could they sneak in at 5 wins?
They could, yes.
They
could.
You know who could sneak in at 5 wins also? Northwestern is the
Northwestern. Good. Northwestern's not winning.
That if there's 5 wins, they're the first team in.
Yeah, probably. But
Northwestern's not very good at football.
No.
You let 50 ball you.
Indiana, Purdue next.
Indiana, Purdue, 28.5 points.
Indiana's going to – here's the thing. This game is in Indiana, and for the fact of the matter is that the ticket is $42 to get in. Indiana is probably selling this place out. They are going to pack it in, be rabid, and they're going to run the score up. They will score 70 on Purdue because they will –
If I get bored enough, I'm going to do the analytics of what's the spread of a team after Ohio State skull bashes them, because I feel like every team just kills people afterwards. Like, I mean, Penn State won by 1,000 after they had their annual loss to Ohio State. So, I mean, maybe it's just them.
Yeah.
But, I view Indiana as fake as Penn State. So, obviously, go back a minute from Iran. This is going to be Indiana covers the over themselves. We're talking like 55-0. And the thing is Purdue probably wants to lose by 1,000 because they don't even want Walters still there. But 0-9 in the conference is disgusting.
Yeah. And then the last game, the nightcap on NBC, Oregon takes on Washington, 19.5-point favorites.
Why is this game at 10?
I don't know.
Spread them out, man. There's like 7 3:30 games.
Yeah.
You're going to make me watch USC at 3:30, which it seems like that game's always a 7:30 night game. Damn.
Yeah. And then, I mean, I don't really know what to expect.
Look, I think Oregon's going to win this game, but I think it's going to be a lot closer than people think just because there's a lot of pressure on Oregon to win this game. Like a lot of pressure.
Why?
They
lose, nothing happens.
Because they haven't beat Washington in 4 years?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, there's just there's a lot of pressure on some other team.
Taz is back. Taz Williams is back. So I mean,
I just want to mention we've been playing for 2 minutes. 4 minutes into this game, and we've already hit as many threes as we have in the last 2 games combined.
See, I almost just said that Oregon would take the foot off the gas. Then I forgot they have the biggest front-running cocksucking coach in the country. So yeah, give me Oregon -20.
Yeah, I'm. That's my lock of the week. Oregon -20. I don't care. I think that Oregon is legit, and Washington.
I think Washington covers.
I think Washington.
I could definitely see it, but I think Dan Lanning's already planning his next freaking High School Musical
They're
act
ready to do this at home.
Yeah,
They're ready to do it at home.
it's embarrassing. I don't know, whatever.
So.
Yeah, so I think we're good for the rest of the week.
Would you like to go first, Mr. Stackpoole?
Look, man, I was saying this earlier. I'm like, if people want me to act like we can play the villain here, I can. Whatever. This is what I'll say. It's almost more dangerous for Ohio State purely from this fact that Michigan has literally nothing to play for. Like I said, getting Underwood again. That. Sharon was not on the hot seat, but he was on the lukewarm seat, right? And then he got Underwood, so it's like whatever. And everyone's loving life. I mean, we were joking that there's potentially we're gonna have a bunch of flips, and every time Ohio State scores a touchdown, we're just gonna announce another recruit just to like flood the timeline. But look, man, I don't know. Look, Ohio State's winning. Okay, the only question is how much. Okay, if Michigan had competent running back rotations, I think this game could be competitive. Like if Michigan ran Khalil Mullings 30 to 40 times and just played chew clock from the first snap, shrink this game down, keep it to like 14-20. 14-24, something like that, maybe. By the way, if it's that close, that's a win for Michigan. But look, I mean, you've got guys that aren't even playing. People are just doing all this stuff. I mean, I'm focused on certain things in this game. I want to see certain guys play well. I wouldn't hate if we started playing a lot more of the young guys than we kind of were last week, playing a lot of young kids. I mean, I'll be there, so even though I don't really care, I'll be there. I'll be happy to see Cozzi and some other guys I can finally get to meet outside of Cozzi. I've never met him. And look, dude, it's just I'm just gonna see what's happening. I think it's probably a good time for me to visit the shoe is when there's a 0% chance we win this game, so I don't get murdered or jumped, which is great. But again, I don't know if Ohio State has the explosive playness to blow us out like that. I mean, they probably will. No Will Johnson, so who knows? Colson Loveland's hurt. I don't know if he's going to play. People are trying to find Samaj Morgan. He's not playing. He won't travel, so sorry for that. Yeah, I mean, I think Sharon's going to get involved. They're bringing back some guys in the last few weeks. They're going to try. It is what it is. Sharon cares, which is nice to see. I think he'll have some passion on the sidelines, but it is what it is. Look, I don't care if we win this game. I just want to go up at some point. Like I think it'd be really funny to feel
3-0.
Literally, even not even 3-0. But if by God for some reason it was 7-0 and Ohio State punted while we were leading, just to feel like the collective like nervousness of the crowd would be pretty funny. I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility that Michigan scores first because again Ohio State doesn't like score first. It seems like, but it is what it is. I personally will be taking the over because I feel like it's sacrilege to take Ohio State -21.5. I'll be taking the over because I don't think, this is Ryan Day is going to be like just bashing in a lifeless victim that can't fight back type of thing. I think is what's going to end up happening here. Like they'll care. The guys on the roster they're still going to be able to try to care. It is what it is. Again, like I said earlier, Loveland's comment of we're just trying to go out and wreck people's seasons now. I appreciate that he's like the only guy talking smack. That was obviously not even about Ohio State, but that's just like in general. But I do think it's funny that all of these guys that have been on the team for 5 years are suddenly talking smack now. That part to me is funny.
Jack Stowe did that last year, but
I know Cozzi tried to do that, try to dunk on me on Twitter very unsuccessfully.
Wasn't unsuccessfully. He basically said in his letter that he was definitely coming back for one thing and one thing only.
Oh, exactly. That part's funny, but no. After the fact, I'm talking about talking like this spicy.
Yeah, and
one person did it, and it was Denzel Burke. So he's the only one that I give credit to.
Okay. Well, Jack Sawyer actually did it last year too. So Jack Sawyer actually said that this game is more important than everything else last year.
But yeah, we're your Super Bowl, so have fun.
That's fine. You are.
Have a great time. It's going to be cold. Hopefully, it was a bit warmer. It'd be great.
And here's the thing: I, as an Ohio State fan, would never downplay the game, no matter what our record is, because I know how important it is, and I know what it means to us, and I know what it means in a season to keep wanting to beat Michigan every single year, because I've said for a long time, if you lose to Michigan and win a national title, it just doesn't feel right. So for me, I'm going into this and I'm saying I want to beat the motherfucking piss out of them as bad as possible, just like I do every year. And you can say I have hate in my heart and all this other stuff, and that's fine. But I can tell you one thing for sure is I will always want to beat Michigan, no matter what. This game is going to be, I think you got, like I said, and I texted Blake this a few weeks ago. I said, we have a leader at quarterback now. We don't have Kyle McCord. We don't even have CJ Stroud. CJ Stroud was not in people's faces a leader of the team until that Georgia game. Now we have a leader. We have a guy who's basically brought our fucking swagger back, that has like us moving in the right direction. You could just feel there's a difference in this. And hey, you know, everyone wants to say this is John Cooper 2.0. Just remember, John Cooper also found, as we say, a blind squirrel finds a nut every once in a while. He also beat Michigan badly his 6 years into his coaching career at Ohio State. So maybe this is that time. Maybe Ryan Day is John Cooper 2.0. I don't know if that's the answer, but I can tell you right now that this game is going to mean something. Are you guys going to go up early and make us all nervous for a second? Maybe, possibly.
God, that'd be funny.
But here's the thing. You guys have also pulled off some great upsets against us in the 90s. And if this is one of those times where you guys came in with 4 losses in 96 and beat us when we were number 2 in the country and would have been number 1 in the country, won a national title. You prevented us from that. So the thing is, I'm never going to count this game out. It's going to be very, very, very cold, but I think we kick your ass. And I think it's not really close, especially if Loveland doesn't play. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm not sure that you guys may break one, because Donovan Edwards, for some reason, has this unreal ability that he just absolutely goes nuts against us. But if Loveland doesn't play, I'm not sure that you guys score any points. I think the weather, I'm going to make my conservative pick 33-9. I think weather-wise, I want to see what could happen, because it's going to be very cold.
Hold on real quick. It's funny you say 9. I just forgot about something. My kicker is better than half the NFL kickers, and he's not even on the Lou Garza Award. Embarrassing. Continue.
Which is fine. I mean, you guys just didn't kick enough field goals, apparently.
He's 7 for 7 from 50-yard plus in college.
And Blake's balls just dropped.
Yeah, it's crazy. Fuck.
Anyways, I don't know. I'd like to think that it could be a little bit more. And I've kicked the idea around of yes, Ryan Day is going to run the score up. Yes, it's going to be a 56-7 kind of game. Do I think it's going to be that bad? I don't know. If it was warm, if it was like this past week against Indiana, but it was going to be sunny and warm, 45 and sunny, absolutely. I'm going to be interested to see how Jeremiah Smith does in his first cold weather game ever. I think he's the real deal. Don't get me wrong. But there's a different jarring effect when you catch a pass in the freezing cold and get hit than when it's 40 degrees or 45 degrees. He'll adapt to it. I'm not too worried about that. We just have talent on this team that is probably some of the best I've ever seen at Ohio State ever. Jeremiah is the real deal, and Mbuka is going to get drafted maybe late first round. Who knows what his playoff run is going to be? Other than that, I just absolutely love this week. It always makes me nervous. I always am like super nervous day of the game. Can't sleep the night before. Super amped up, super ready to go, super just fucking jacked. But it's one of those things where it's like, this will always be, I don't care the records. I mean, Michigan came in here 3-8 one year, and I was super pumped up the whole fucking week. I'm going to stay that way all fucking week. They're coming in 6-5. Don't care. I want to beat them. It will forever, anyone can say it, it will forever be my Super Bowl. I do not care. Other than that, I don't got much anything else. We can go over other games if you guys want to.
I'm going to take my bet in this game. There's 2 bets I really like in this game, and that is Ibuka score a touchdown. I think that's a pretty fair bet.
Well, we can't do that in the state of Ohio
because he got destroyed the past couple of years, and I feel like this is the game. It's like his bounce back game against Michigan. My other one is Ohio State team total over, which is 31.5, which seems very low to me. If you can get it all the way up, I would play it all the way to 49, because I think Ryan Day is just going to do whatever it takes to run the score up. Because
the only thing is that D line versus Ohio State's O line might be the only position that we have an advantage in, but it's a pretty big one.
I would agree, but I mean,
that weak Indiana line was pushing them around.
If you could get it at like mid 40s, I would play that for plus money, just because I feel like this is one of those games where, I mean, we've watched
under. I don't know if you could do under field goals because I think it was kicking points.
Yeah,
under field goals,
especially for Ohio State, I don't think they're going to kick a whole lot of field goals.
No, but it's gonna be funny because he's gonna do his fake tough guy thing at the end of the game. It'll be very funny. I'm excited to see how it goes. So, I'm trying to think what else is going on. Georgia plays Friday. The Egg Bowl's not on Thanksgiving. What the hell?
No, Egg Bowl's on Friday too at 3:30. The Egg Bowl, take Mississippi to cover the 26 points. That is, they are going to run the score up in that game. Mississippi State is not a good team, and they're not. I mean, it's going to be bad. I mean,
Zack versus Georgia is at 7:30 on Friday.
Travis Hunter anytime touchdown on Friday as well. I mean, that's just free money as well.
By the way, give my lock of the. I'll do a second lock of the week even. Give me Georgia Tech to cover that 19.
I like it. I think that Georgia Tech's going to run the ball a lot in Georgia. I don't know if they can stop them, and they're probably just going to run. I think it's going to be a low scoring game. 53.5 seems kind of high to me. Throughout the week, we already talked about Vanderbilt, Tennessee, Clemson versus South Carolina, where South Carolina.
Give me the Gamecocks. Give me the Gamecocks. They're surging. I don't think Clemson's that good.
I just want South Carolina to win purely for the fact that they'll be 9-3 and they'll try to get them in the playoff.
Yeah, especially after that game with if they would have beat LSU 10-2, they would have been in the playoffs. They would have won that game Cozzi was at. They'd be in the playoffs.
Womp womp. Win the game.
Yeah. Miami, Syracuse.
And they lost to a bad Alabama team at this point. That's what we can say now. You lost to a bad Alabama team. Sorry. Lost to a bad LSU team.
And by the way, okay, so I did want to ask this. Who are you sending if it somehow comes down to 9-3 Alabama, 9-3 Ole Miss, 9-3 South Carolina?
Not South Carolina because they lost to both teams.
Correct.
And Alabama, Ole Miss didn't play common opponent. I mean, they would just take Bama because of Bama.
Hypothetically, then, 9-3 Ole Miss, 9-3 South Carolina. Who are you sending?
Ole Miss, because Ole Miss beat the hell out of South
Okay,
Carolina.
because here's the thing. I can tell you right now that South Carolina is going to be ahead of Ole Miss this week.
Potentially.
They do that weird shit all the time.
Yeah.
I have one last lock of the week. I know where everyone's doing 2 this week. I'll do 2.
I didn't do two. I did.
Too bad. Syracuse plus 11 against the Miami Hurricane.
I actually agree with that.
The nation's leading passer and top quarterback in the country, Kyle McCord, will finish with 5,000 yards. This game in the bowl game.
This game in the bowl game, he's going to get up to over 5,000 yards.
Absolutely. He might have 500 in this game alone.
Where do you want to place this bet with me? And what do we want to wager on it?
What, Kyle, you get 1,000 yards?
No, yes. You get 1,100 yards basically in 2 games.
He might opt out of the bowl game, though.
Oh, get out of here. He's not opting out of the bowl game.
Remember how funny it was when he was on the sideline of their bowl game last year when my Bulls beat them 42-0? People forget about that.
I would like to say there is one game out there that is kind of a little bit leery for me if you're looking at conference championships, things like that. Don't ask me why, but SMU hosting Cal, I just have a hard time seeing SMU going unbeaten their first year in the ACC.
Light work.
Like,
if only someone said that they were going to win the conference.
What? SMU?
Oh, he's trying to steal your flow, Zach.
So I will never forget this day. It was a nice August afternoon, and I'm sitting in bed in my apartment, and all I say is, guys, I really think SMU can win this conference. And everybody said, you're an idiot. You don't know what you're talking about.
I was one of those people. Hand up. I actually am a man of integrity here.
It was 18-1, and
we
now it's plus 100. I don't want to hear it. I'm so over it.
We need to go back and pull what was said on our pre-show because I believe I had SMU in the ACC title game and actually beating Clemson or Miami.
I had UCF Clemson. Someone put me down like a sick horse.
No, that's right. I had SMU versus UCF. I actually had UCF too. Hey, it's okay. In the Big 12, don't worry, I failed. I had Arizona against Kansas State.
Yeah, listen, it's gonna be tight, man. I have to tell you.
Outside of that, only other game I want to maybe mention a little bit is Iron Bowl, Auburn, Alabama.
I don't know how to feel on that one, man. I don't know how to feel on that one.
I'm not gonna lie, I don't feel real great about Alabama right now.
Because you'd think that they should just skull them, just skull bash them and kill them. But
and that line it started at like 15. It's down to 11.5. People know something. People know something.
I don't know. I mean, you feel like it'd be like get the monkey off your back and kill this team, go 9-3 and sneak into the playoff.
I don't know.
And I don't want any part of Alabama in the playoff because Milroe can turn it on. He tried last week, but
I mean, hey, good thing for you guys. You guys don't have to worry about the playoff this year.
It's all good. Ryan Williams will be a Wolverine. It's all good. Don't worry about it.
Okay, I'm sure he will.
All right. Yeah, there'll be a few stunning things happening, but we'll see what ends up happening. It's gonna be tight. All right. I think that's all we got. Anything else?
I don't really got much else.
Nope.
I know. Before we started to record, we weren't talking about basketball, but our good friend Zack here, they ducked UConn. No, I'm kidding.
I'm trying to watch. I'm like
he's currently in a dogfight.
Half watching the game, half paying attention because
he's in a dogfight with Memphis. Michigan, takes care of business. We're gonna win the Make-A-Wish tournament that we're in. It is what it is, and we'll see what ends up happening. So and Zach's number 1 overall in hockey. Okay, go watch your game, Zack.
Yeah, big week. Yeah, hockey. 7 teams actually in the Big Ten in different sports are number 1 in the country. What is the SEC? I don't understand.
Yes, you got to add in Michigan now has the number 1 recruit, so that we rank that rankings as well, staking it from the SEC. Shout out to the Big Ten.
Yeah, the Big Ten's dominating all sports. Shocker.
Shocker.
Yeah. I mean, we'll see what happens.
I think if you do the sailing rankings, the highest SEC or Big Ten team would be Big Ten. Probably unranked both, but that's what it is.
So I think that's all we got this week.
Hey, big shout out coming on next Sunday, by the way. OSU men's soccer hosts Stanford. They're number 1 in the country.
Yeah, I
It's a
saw
tournament
that.
game. So.
Oh man. All righty. Well, yeah, that's all we got for now. Yeah, we'll see what happens, and it'll be a very interesting podcast next week.
Yeah.
Okay. Go Bucks.
See you guys.